Hello, everyone, and welcome back to DWGTV. I'm Hannah, and today I'm joined by a very special guest, Amy Landino. Amy is a best-selling author, entrepreneur, a YouTube creator, and an inspiration to many, including myself. So thank you for being here, Amy.
I appreciate you having me, Hannah. Thanks for having me. I'm just pumped. Let's do this.
Yeah, of course. I'm excited about it. Yeah. So just to set the stage for everyone, even if you're not a YouTube creator or looking to be an entrepreneur, that doesn't matter. This episode still pertains to you. Amy, I'm sure, is going to give some great insight into how to go after the life you want. That's her whole mission, and that stands behind everything that she does. So without further ado, we can dive right in. And Amy, if you just wanted to, for our viewers who don't know who you are, just share a little bit about what you do.
Sure. Yeah. I mean, I do a lot of things. I don't really have like a title. I've actually made it my mission to not have a title. That's pretty much.
I love it.
This point. But I am a lot of things. So I spend a lot of my time creating content, helping people go after the life that they want and that you want, Hannah. Thank you for introducing that. Specifically on my YouTube channel, youtube.com/AmyTV. I publish twice weekly there. I've been on YouTube for a really long time. It's sort of like the root of where all the other things that I do came from was just my passion. You know, I was thinking about this morning and I was like, I feel like if I could think about what I was doing as a kid that encouraged what I do now, it's like I was a performer in some ways. Not that I was like, I'm going to perform, but it was more, I have something in me I have to get out. And the way to do that is to perform it out in order for people to absorb it in the way they do. So that's been a lot of things. Like it was like choir for a lot of years. And then it was like, I have ideas and I want to share them. And so that's sort of how the YouTube channel started. And that's how I started my career in marketing. Initially was a lot of B2B, you know, leverage this amazing space where we can connect with people and have real conversations, which turned into video. And that's how I became an author. Talking so much about video on video, people were like, write a book. And I was like, well, that math doesn't add up, but if you really want me to, I will. And so I wrote the book Vlog Like a Boss, which came out in 2017 and was also a really great compliment to my speaking career, because I also travel the world speaking about video and how different types of brands, personal and large, can leverage this storytelling medium. And if that isn't enough, I also have a podcast, and I am the co-founder of a video production house here in Columbus, Ohio with my husband, and that is Aftermark. We make video at Aftermark. So that's all I have going on. That's it.
That's it. No big deal. Yeah, that's a super impressive intro and resume. So we're really lucky to have you here and be chatting with you today. I appreciate you giving us your time. So I know you mentioned that you have been a performer, you know, in your childhood, and that kind of unfolded to get you where you are today. What did you foresee when you were younger? What did you want to be when you grew up?
For a long time, I thought I wanted to be a singer, but it wasn't because it was like, I want fame. It was just like, this is a thing I can do that I think people find valuable, because when I am in choir, they pick me for solos. And I was just, everything was very like compartmentalized. Like, okay, Amy can do this, so she's good at that. So she should only lean into the thing she's good at, which has been smart of me and also very psychologically damaging, because it's like, it makes you really afraid to fail in a lot of ways. But yeah, that it was a lot of that. It was like, oh, I should be a singer. Like now I've come to hate the word should in so many ways, because it has limited a lot of like beliefs about myself over lifetime that I'm trying to combat now. But yeah, it wasn't that I was inherently good at performing and that I got excited to get attention from people. It was more, how do I bring value to a situation just so I can feel like I accomplished something good today? And I still think that is a feature of what I do, because I genuinely feel very imposter syndrome about turning on the camera if I am not saying something that someone can walk away and actually use in their life or business.
Totally. I love that. So what events unfolded to get you where you are today? How did you make the decision to step out of your 9 to 5 and begin making videos online?
Yeah, it was a series of events. I'll try to sum them up as quickly as I can, but it's not cut and dry, right? I think a lot of people that go through this are like, how come it's not just this, I'm ready, let's go, let's do it, because it's not that simple for most people. First of all, when you find a passion and it's not what you're currently doing, there's a lot to deal with there, because you have to obligate yourself at least probably 40 hours a week to someone else, to something else, to someone else's dream, to some other line of work. That's what was happening with me. I was in the public policy fundraising and just policy space basically, and raising money. And I thought that was what I was going to do. It was what I went to college for. And I didn't finish college. I just got the best job I could have, and nobody was finishing college and getting a job. So I was like, well, I'm staying here because this is going great. But then I discovered marketing. And so when that was happening, it's like, okay, well, if I really want to grow this, if I want to prove I've got what it takes, I have to do this in my spare time. I'm not going back to school for it, because they're not teaching what I'm trying to teach people. They don't even have this in education systems yet, and this being social media communications. So I discover this, I start to work on it. I start to get free clients. Start to get very, very low paying clients, and just doing any work I could, evenings and weekends. And then from there, it was just, oh my gosh, I think I want to leave my job. I think this is a real thing. I decided to go to my first conference. That was one of my free clients actually sponsored me to get there. Oh my gosh, my dog's gonna knock over a light here. One of my free clients sponsored me to get there. Couldn't pay for the whole badge, but helped me. And I spent my savings and my vacation time going to a conference for a week and submersing myself in this energy of people who were doing something similar, either full time or also trying to get to a full time capacity. I realized, oh my gosh, little Amy in the Midwest is on the right track to something. I really should follow this. This is all 2008, 2009, 2010. And it's like, oh my gosh, I have to leave my job. And I started to feel a lot of like guilt about that. I was like, this job is taking care of me. This is job security. Everybody talks about it. They don't really have it. I should not be planning to leave this place. These people have taken care of me. This is what I was supposed to do. This is the safe path. And I was losing sleep over it, but I didn't actually leave that job for another year. So by early 2011, it was like, okay, it's finally time. And the reason it was finally time was when I discovered you can't wait for full-time carrying you easily out the door income, or whatever the case may be, to be that magic ticket out. When you're in services, it can be really difficult for clients to trust that they have your undivided attention when you're balancing like, oh, I'll reply to you from 6 p.m. to 10 p.m. at night and on weekends. And I'm also at a job, there's not a lot you can take seriously there. I think it's a little bit different now. This was in 2009, 2010, but that was a big realization for me, because I was like, well, I need to give this my full-time attention if I expect full-time attention out of it. Yeah. So I had to leave my job after I'd put in a good amount of work, did some networking. And the funny thing was, when I walked out the door, I emailed everybody I'd met, especially in this new line of work, but some people from the old line of work. And I just said, this is what I'm doing now. I just wanted you to know. And when you let people know, they send you work. And suddenly I was able to, at least try to kind of pay bills. I made adjustments in my life to make this decision, but pay some bills with some first clients that were like, great, let's hit the ground running.
I think there's so much good information in that. And not only for people looking to leave their 9 to 5 and go out on their own, but also here at DuBose Web, we focus on community-focused organizations. So a lot of nonprofits and organizations that might not have a great budget for marketing, but I think it's a great message that you just shared, that you have to start somewhere. Yes. And you have to put in those extra hours. Yep. And you have to give it your full time and attention.
Everyone's just trying to figure it out.
Yeah.
That's my favorite thing I've learned about business. Like, nobody really knows what they're doing.
Nope. There's always something to learn.
We're all just trying to figure out where to be, what to do, how to do things the right way. We're measuring what we've done. And the other thing was, I was young. I didn't have a lot of commitments. I wasn't married. I didn't have kids. I didn't have a mortgage. So there were certain things that made it a little bit easier on my decision-making process, because I said, I need to take this chance. I need to do it now. And if it's an utter failure, I can go back to what my other plan was. I don't know if my old job will take me back, but I know I achieved skills while I was there to go back to that career path if I have to. If it turns out I made a huge mistake, and fortunately I didn't have to do that.
Yeah, definitely was not a failure. So that kind of brings me to my next question is, I know you just broke 300,000 subscribers on YouTube. Congratulations on that. That's a huge accomplishment. So I just wanted, I wanted you to take some time and kind of share any tips or tricks or strategies you could share with an individual or business or organization that's looking to build and maintain a following on any social platform.
Yeah. There's a lot of things you can do. Definitely. To me, it's all been the North Star of this has just been talking to one person. So I think people lose sight of the fact that we're trying to get to 300,000. Like, what? That's a ridiculous sum of people. Like, what? That's weird. Because the whole time I really feel like I've been talking like I'm talking to you right now.
Yeah.
I know there's other people in the room, but I'm talking to Hannah. And so when you reframe things specifically on video, that helps a lot with imposter syndrome. But writing on a blank page or taking a photo for a blank Instagram that's got nowhere to go yet, it's really important to focus on the one person, because that's what people are saying when they say go niche. It's easy to say I help women. Like, okay, great. Like, there are so many different types of women. I know I don't just help all women. I'm sure I've affected more than just the ones I have plans for. But without zeroing in on the specific woman and who she is and what she deals with, that there's no way you can grow without being special on some level. And that's how you do it. So I really think that's it. That is it for every platform. That is it for every business. That is it for every thing that you do where you're trying to promote yourself. If you stop saying you can help all people and you start saying you help one person to the end of the earth, that's going to change everything for you. And that's what's changed everything for me on YouTube. There's a few other nuances as to why the channel, the channel's been around for, what year is it? 8 years. So that's a long time. And the exponential growth of the channel, I was at 80,000 subscribers this time last year.
Wow.
And that took 7 years. So, it was February when things started, beginning of February. So yeah, so then it's like I hit 100 and I hit 200 in another 100 days. So what happens is when you really find that pocket, and I had it before, but I had it in different ways. It was like B2B. It was this girl, but it was at her job. And now it's like the same girl, but let's go bigger. Let's talk about what she's really doing with her life. I had the same person in mind, but my mission continued to change. I say it's like following Beyonce, Beyonce Destiny's Child is not Beyonce today, but we all grow up. And it's the same women. It's the same girls that are like, oh, I've been watching Beyonce since Destiny's Child or whatever, whatever was before Destiny's Child. I'm not that much of an OG, but I guess that's a long time ago. It's like this, we're all the same people. We still have the same appeal. She has mass appeal, but she's been different. Her content has changed over time, and it's because we all grew up together. And I really see that to be the same in content. I don't care if it's an individual brand or a corporate brand. You are on this journey together. That's the hard part of what I think a lot of larger companies have to grapple with when they're like, oh, the comments or like, oh, negative feedback or Yelp reviews and this kind of thing. These all have to do with aspects of the relationship and where people feel that they are heard. So, I don't know, just think about it as Beyonce, and we just have to grow up together.
It's great advice. So you hit on this, but I kind of wanted to hear what your process has been for developing your personas. You do such a good job with your content, speaking to, like you said, one person. It makes me feel like you're speaking directly to me. So what has your process been for kind of figuring out who that girl is, who that woman is?
Well, a big piece of it was just knowing right off the bat, how do I help? And that is going to help you narrow it down pretty quickly, because it's like, who does this really affect? Probably one of the touchiest parts of who I help and who I don't has been that I'm not a mother, and so I can't bring that perspective. And motherhood and parenthood has definitely become a factor in a lot of the things I talk about, which is like productivity, efficiency, waking up early. There are certain things I can't bring perspective on because I don't have that point of view.
Right.
Even though there are lots of mothers that follow my channel and absolutely love the work, there is not a mother in my mind when I'm speaking to the camera. So like I said, it's not that we don't help more people than we've just thought about, but that's part of it, right? I know that a lot of what I'm talking about is someone that is I don't want to say that this is a majority or minority because I don't really know the statistics on this, but there are quite a few millennial women who are having kids later in life. They're making commitments later in life. That's sort of the person that I'm talking to more. So the more that I zero in on that, the more confident I am in the content that I'm presenting. And I don't have to be like qualifying everything. Like, oh, but if you're a mom, here's a tip that I heard from somebody. I can't tell you that. So that's part of it. It's being 100% real with the fact of what you do and what you don't do, and being okay with what you're not good at and what you are good at. So that's one big piece of it. But then from there, it's all listening. I mean, at least 95% of the content I'm doing has to do with some comment that someone left me because they left it and 100 people liked that comment. And then a bunch of people added the same comment and said, oh yes, please do that. Oh yes, please do that. As soon as you start putting things out into the world that people want to see, they have more questions. What my favorite thing to do, just really practical, is to go into my comments in YouTube specifically, because you can search for keywords. You can search for anything. I just search for question marks. Where are the question marks? Not the question marks and the exclamation points together, because that usually means they're making a statement of some kind. But a question mark means that there is a question before it. And I want to know what those questions are. And are there consistencies in that? Are people asking that a lot? Did I leave a loop unclosed when I made this video? Is there something I can do to expand on this? And that's why I think every video is the start of another one, because you're never done with the conversation. It can't be a 2-hour long video. You can't cover everything at one time. So allowing the audience to say, what's next? What's next? What's next? Because they're telling you this is what we want. That's all the masterful that it gets. Because if I truly am, first of all, looking at the avatars and the people and saying, yeah, this is definitely who I had in mind, and now this is their next question, you lean into that. You don't have to keep recreating the wheel. For anybody that's like, easy for you to say, Amy, I don't have an audience yet, so what am I supposed to do? I don't have any comments. I don't have any questions. That's totally fair. You're probably observing brands online right now, no matter how big or small that they are, that are doing something similar to what you would like to do. We don't want to copy anybody, but we definitely see similarities in what we are hoping to achieve. So why not start there? If those presences have audiences, those presences have comments, they have questions, where is that brand not closing the loop? How can you do it? Or how can you do it better? You don't have to be first. You have to be better, or you at least have to be more tailored for your specific demo, your specific person. So that's really all I've done. I mean, it's not like, it's not a big research demographic process. It's more just, this is who I believe I help. I'm going to do that to the best of my ability, make sure the audience matches up to who I have in my mind, and then keep going, go deeper with them, improve the relationship with them on other social media, show them more behind the scenes so they can find more things about me that they are curious about that I can present as value, and the content just builds.
That's so good. And I love that you brought up, even if you don't have comments and you don't have an audience yet, how that process can apply to you as well. Yeah.
There's no excuse. If you're going to sit here and say, oh, it's oversaturated. Yeah. Well, then go find out what's going on in the saturation party. Grab it for yourself. Like, there's just too much information out there. Literally any phrase you could probably think of, you can Google it and somebody wrote it on the internet somewhere. So find out.
Yeah, totally. So would you say that kind of following along with the comments that you've received has helped you kind of develop your niche in the YouTube community? I know that your videos have evolved over time, and now you're very focused on productivity, time management, those types of topics. Can you just kind of talk about how your content has evolved over time and what led to that evolution?
Yeah, so it kind of goes into the comments, right? I mean, let's just go through all of the different iterations of the channel. When I launched the channel, it was Savvy Sexy Social in 2011, and it was because I wanted to get into social media marketing, and so I started advising people on social media marketing. And I knew I wanted to help the people that were actually in the weeds doing the work. and those people are usually young people who are coming out of college and they want to work in marketing, and they're totally aware of what's happening with Facebook and Twitter. And so they go ahead and they're like, I'll do the tweeting for the company. Great. That happens. Then I'm advising them on that. I'm making videos advising them on that. So what's naturally the next question? How is this video thing happening? How easy is it? How hard is it? How can we do it too? That's where the questions started to go. Like, yeah, we're starting to get the Facebook and Twitter thing, but now talk to me about YouTube, and Facebook video is starting to exist, and how can we leverage that? So that became the next iteration of the channel. And that was a big part of what I was talking about for a long time, because I was so passionate about video. And so it's still something I speak about today. So, but from there, it just got deeper because people started to really see my process in a lot of ways. They saw that I was waking up at 5 a.m. They saw that I was getting a lot of videos done every single week. They saw these different things happening, and they saw that I was bragging about the fact that I didn't have an editor. With all of that starts to become the natural questions of, how are you getting this all done? How do you have it all? How do you do this? How do you have this commitment and that commitment? And how are you getting this video out on time every time? And so that led into the productivity and efficiency side of things. And I believe that that's at the heart of everything. If you're really trying to say, I want something, if you want something and you're going to make it happen, you just have to make the time to make it happen. And there's probably going to be different hoops for everybody. If you want to be an astronaut, then you're making time for a lot of different things than I'm making time for, but you can make the time for it. So that's really how the channel has evolved. It's been a matter of what have the questions been. And I started with what I was good at, and I leaned hard on what I was good at. And then I just took those people on a journey with me.
I love it. I love the productivity time management. That is what I nerd out over. So
just by the way, Lucy just really wanted to hang out with us. So
I love Lucy. I'm so glad she joined us.
I'm also surprised.
Okay. So speaking of time management, you have a lot going on, as we heard earlier. You've got your podcast, you have Aftermark, you have your YouTube channel, you are doing professional speaking. How do you find time to consistently deliver high quality content on your YouTube channel? What systems have you put into place to kind of ensure that you're getting those 2 videos out every single week?
Yeah. So a lot of it is my favorite thing in the world, which is calendar blocking. Like, I can calendar block very far into the future, because if I know I need a video out every Wednesday and Sunday and a podcast on Tuesdays and now another podcast on Mondays and a lot of things going on, I can pretty much predict I need to film and edit and record and get interviews. And these are all things I have to do, and they're a part of the process. So planning them out, it's not a happy accident. You know, I just filmed a video that's coming out next Wednesday because I'm going to be traveling and things like that. So it's got to get done. It's got to get done. You know, the things you've got to get done. So it's about making the time for it, scheduling the time for it. It's also saying no a lot. This is probably one of the last interviews that I'm going to be doing, because I realized I was taking on too many, and it's now becoming a huge disruption. For me, it's really difficult to just jump on an interview and be on, not because I don't know what to say. I never prep for interviews, to be completely frank. I know this stuff too much. Yeah. So it's just a matter of being in the right flow. Yeah. But stopping and saying, okay, now I'm going to get on a call, keeps me from writing the next episode, keeps me from filming the next episode, keeps me from getting to go meet with my team and making sure real work is getting done for the clients. It's managing and saying no. So with the time management and saying no to things that are just not going to move the needle at this point in time, that's a big part of it. The rest of the systems for getting content out consistently is just knowing what it takes. A lot of people want to know, how long is a video going to take? How long is this going to take? How long is that going to take? I don't know. If you haven't started, I don't know. I know how long it takes me to edit a video, and that's just because it's my creative outlet, and I know that it could take me 45 minutes if I didn't care about it. Or I'm going to plan to take a little bit more time to just add a few more details than I would. But I also have a template that I just drop in the new footage, and I move some things around, change some titles, change some bullet points, and it's mostly done. But that just takes practice and knowing the things that you have to use, and actually trying to keep track of how long things take you. If you just say the video's got to get done in the next week, but you do get the things done throughout the week, but you're like, it took a whole week to get the video done. How many hours did it actually take? I'm measuring the hours on my calendar because I have to allocate hours toward other things. So I'm just a real Nazi for time. Like, I think that is the biggest system I have in place. My husband doesn't operate the same way. We just did a podcast together the other day, and he doesn't live by his calendar in the same way. People get things done in different ways. That's just how I have found myself to be the most efficient in what is mostly still this business, not Aftermark. They're two different entities. This whole Amy TV thing is a Vlogboss Studios enterprise, as well as the book and things like that. Aftermark is a different situation. There's a team there. There's client work. There's travel. There's productions. Vlogboss Studios is still very much bootstrapped because it is a reflection of, I market Aftermark, but I market Aftermark with this company that I started, Vlogboss Studios, which has content and a media company built into it, which is naturally product and marketing. So I don't know, it's kind of like convoluted, I guess, but systems happen over time because you execute. If you want to make video, you have to commit to it. And when you commit to it, you are going to find out really quickly how long it takes you. And then you're going to want to find out, how do we reel this in a little bit? You know, we need to lose an hour off of this or lose a few hours off of this. And how do you do that? One really practical tip, I guess, would be batch recording. I just finished one episode. I'm going to film another one after we get off this call. And so that way I've got 2 in the hopper there that go to editing, and then we schedule them out from there. And batching is great because I hate putting fake eyelashes on. It takes too long. So I want to use them up and then take them off. You know what I mean? Like you don't need to set these lights up all the time. You don't need to turn the camera on all the time. You don't have to have the camera ready every day. I don't want to put makeup on every day. I try not to. I work from home. So it's about making the most of those moments. If someone wants to meet me for coffee, I'm going to try to meet 3 people for coffee because let's get it done. I don't want to keep coming to this coffee shop. It's too much commuting for me. So again, it's time management to the nth degree.
Yeah. So calendar blocking, batch work, and measuring your time.
So you kept track of what I said, because I'm sure that was difficult.
Well, calendar blocking has changed my life. It has changed my life for both professionally and personally. I've been trying to get all my coworkers on board with calendar blocking, and they just think it's so obnoxious.
It is. My husband's like, those aren't even real appointments on your calendar. I'm like, yes, they are.
I mean,
they are.
Yeah, they are.
They are where I need to be because I have decided it needs to be done, or someone's asking me to do something. I have to balance both. Right. And what I think the best part is even if it's difficult for somebody to get started with blocking at first, it really opens your eyes to how much time you actually have. I was up at 4 o'clock this morning, and that felt worlds different than 5 worlds, because it was like, this is amazing. I have a whole nother hour before this deadline, wake my husband up, go to the gym, do this. Like, you start to appreciate the half-hour to hour pockets of your day so much when you really see what you're working with. And that's what I think calendar blocking really does. Yeah.
And it makes you just create a to-do list that's way more realistic. You don't want to put 10 things down and just hope that you have the time that's going to magically appear that you can get to it.
Right.
So I love those tips. Those are great. So next I want to kind of talk about video, and for businesses or individuals that are looking to get involved with video and start some initiative on their own, but they have no idea where to start. What would you tell them?
I think the biggest thing here is just start with what you have. I know that is such a cop-out, but it's really, really honestly true. It's very easy to use gear as an excuse as to not get started, but just like in any other form, it doesn't matter if it's video or photo, it doesn't matter what you're going to actually do, just start with what you have. My thought process behind it is, if you can prove that you need to upgrade, that's a great problem. That is a great problem to have. In most situations, somebody's going to go out and buy a fancy camera or buy some fancy situation that they need in order to feel that it's prestigious enough for them and feel that it's official. But I would argue that you're going to get this thing, you may or may not know how to work it. It's going to frustrate you. It's not going to look great right off the bat because you haven't quite figured out what the trick is. and then it goes into a closet and collects dust. And so it more discourages you. Whereas if you just were to start with your phone and start with an app and don't do a lot of fancy footwork, but just prove that you have a message that's important enough to get out there with the stuff you already have, that's how you upgrade. That's how you go to the next level. And that's why I tell people to watch my first videos ever, because I like to humiliate myself, but also because I really started with the camera that I had. And maybe it wasn't high def at first, it was standard, and it was like both were acceptable at the time, thank goodness. So, but it's just like we all have the most sophisticated technology that we carry on us all the time. We don't leave the house without it. So why, if we could pull that out and use it, if the dog is doing something cute or whatever the case may be, and we're going to share it with our family and friends, why can't we do the same from a brand building perspective if it's just as capable of recording that?
Yeah. Yeah. I think that's super important just to start, to not make the excuse of, I need to buy this, I need to make sure this is perfect, and not make those excuses to just get started no matter what.
Absolutely.
Yeah. I love that. I mean, even with the DWGTV, we were over planning it and overthinking it. And we're like, you know what, we're just going to start. We're just going to start. Right. We don't have the perfect equipment, but let's go for it. And it's worked well. So I think that's
really quick by execution, what you like and what you don't like, and what you're going to change and how you're going to adjust.
Absolutely. So I want to talk about trends for 2019. In your opinion, what do you think is going to be big in the digital marketing world this year?
I'm not a trendy person.
That's okay.
That with the best of intention. I'm always paying attention. I'm paying a significant amount of attention, but that's because what matters to me is what's happening right now. And I think that's all we can do. Especially because what's happening right now may or may not be around. You know, we've seen a lot of what happened in the last 10 years with social media, where something would pop up and everybody would hop on it and then it would go away. And it was like, well, why did we spend time and energy on that? These days, because of what we've learned from that, I'm really looking at things and saying, where is the longevity in this? Because if we start to allocate time and resources to it, we want to be one of those staying power type of brands, not the opposite of that. So that's partially my reasoning, but also it's because we have some really heavy hitters. I mean, even Facebook, which I think is taking a hit in some ways right now, is still so not going anywhere. Like it's really, really fascinating. And so I think when it comes to video and when it comes to brand building, you have to know what's out there and you have to know who you're talking to, because when you do, you'll go to where they're hanging out and you will be effective in that space. And that's super important. If your space is early adopters, then you do need to be paying attention to what the hot exactly new thing is. And that makes total sense. For me, it's where my community feels that they have a space to learn more, to expand their mind more. And it's a place where they feel safe and where they feel comfortable a lot of the time. And YouTube and Instagram and a little bit of Twitter tends to be that. So that's how I kind of make those decisions. And that requires a lot of brain space, because now I have to think about what the context of those environments is. Yeah. So the trend is keep listening, because there's still so many brands that aren't doing it. There's still so many people who aren't doing it. I talk to people every day who are so focused on the things that don't matter. And it's so easy for people like me to say that. It's so annoying. So easy for me to say, like, the numbers don't matter. The subscribers don't matter. Like, they don't. If YouTube decides my video isn't relevant, it doesn't matter how many subscribers I have. It's not going to show up for them. Yeah. It just doesn't matter. That is what it comes down to. So we can be mad at algorithms for that reason, or we can say, okay, why do they exist? And they actually exist because they're making content better. So the trend that I'd like everybody to follow is make better stuff. Like I said, you don't have to be first, you have to be better. What white space is there that you can cover and do it in the best way possible?
Totally. That's actually really comforting to hear, is that there's not this checklist of 25 trends that you need to focus on hitting in 2019. It's more so kind of hone in on what you know you can do well and forget the rest. Do one thing well rather than 20 things okay.
Yeah. And you need to have your advisors, right? Like there's the news and there's the people around you who are saying, this is really a missed opportunity for us. And you take it into consideration and you don't over plan, but you also don't just like jump into something without thinking about it first.
Definitely. So for you personally and well, professionally, what do you have on the horizon in 2019? I know you have a lot of big things going on.
Yeah, so I'm thinking about my next book right now, which
Ooh.
is a lot of fun. And I'm talking to my community about it because they're going to tell me, you know, what I need to do. And they're the ones that should tell me. But other than that, doing a lot of speaking. I just signed with Vayner Speakers, which is an incredible new speaking bureau. I'm very excited to be working with Gary's team and just
So
see
awesome. Congratulations.
yeah, thank you. Where
Yeah.
all over the world they're going to hopefully take me.
Yeah, that's awesome. I'm excited to follow along with everything you're doing this year.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah, of course. So before we get into the rapid fire questions, which I like to do with every guest on DWGTV, I just wanted you to share kind of an overarching, I know this is what you do best, to share productivity, motivational advice. What could you share with our audience who is kind of looking to make strides in the digital marketing arena this year?
I think it's everything we just talked about. Know who you're talking to and then get really focused on the platforms that you need to be on.
Mm-hmm.
If you do that and you just do that and you don't allow all these other bells and whistles and shiny lights to distract you, then you'll be much better off.
Yep, that's awesome. So let's get into our rapid fire questions. These are just super quick, easy questions that are just fun to ask, fun to get to know our guests. So what are you currently reading or listening to?
We just finished How to Win Friends and Influence People by Dale Carnegie at Aftermark as a team, which I've read that multiple times. But now I just started Focus,
Okay.
The Hidden Power of Excellence. And oh shoot, the author's name escapes me. Daniel Goleman, I think. And I just did a little research on that book for a recent video, and I thought it sounded really good.
Very cool. So I know you are all about your morning routine. In your opinion, what is the best way to start the day?
The best way to start the day is a big drink of lemon water. It just wakes and skincare, both at the same time. Just fantastic. Hydration, hydration, hydration.
There you go. You're a plant in the morning.
Yes.
Yep. So what is something that you like to do the old-fashioned way?
Oh, I don't know. That's a good question. What is something I like to do the old-fashioned way? Vlog. I like to vlog the old-fashioned way, not with all the. I don't like to have a big team following me around.
Yeah.
I like to just have a conversation with somebody individually.
Yeah, it's authentic.
That's pretty much it. That's my whole life, apparently.
What are some small things you can do to make your day better?
I would say stop beating yourself up and allow yourself to write down and actually absorb the wins, because it's very easy to hear and deal with all the crap, and we need to remember the good.
Absolutely. And my last rapid fire question is, who inspires you?
Charlotte, who is my avatar, inspires me a lot. Inspires me that there's still a lot more territory that we can cover, and when she's not inspiring me, Oprah does.
Awesome. So that's all the questions I have. My last one is just, where can everyone find you online to follow along with everything that you're doing?
Everything is at amylandino.com, which is my personal website. If you want to find out more about my company, Aftermark, we do video production. That's at aftermark.com. But if you just want to subscribe on YouTube, it's Amy Landino in the search bar, or you can go to youtube.com/AmyTV.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Amy. It was such a joy to talk to you.
Of course.
Such a pleasure to have your time and get to share all your insights with our audience. So really love talking to you. And I think our viewers are going to get a lot of value out of this conversation. So if you liked this video, everyone, you can like and share it, and please connect with us on Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, Instagram. We're on all the platforms. We'd love to get a follow from you, so you can keep up with all of the updates on when we're going to be live again with DWGTV, and also so you can see all of our recent blog posts and all that good stuff. We will be back on March 5th at 1 p.m. Eastern time, and I will be interviewing our president, Blake DeBose, and our creative director, Julie Gogan, on growth-driven design and why that is an effective way to go about web design and web development. So that'll be a great conversation, and we'd love to have you there for that. So please tune in for that. And until next time,